welcome to Right On with Tom Fallwell, a bi-weekly podcast focusing on interviews, novels, reviews, and upcoming releases from indie authors. Now, here's Tom.
I have with me today Patrick Hodges, who happens to be my editor and a great writer in his own right. He has put out a series called the James Madison series, which is about some school kids, and it dealt with a topic that I think he has a great affinity for, bullying. But we're going to be talking with him today about his new science fantasy trilogy called Wielders of Arantha. But join me in welcoming Patrick Hodges. And Patrick, say hello and tell everyone a little about yourself. Give us a little background.
Hello. Well, let me see. I live in Arizona, where the sun shines 300 days a year and several nights a year. I started writing just over 3 years ago. I published my first series, the James Madison series, at the end of 2014 and in 2015. I then switched to my first love, which is science fiction and fantasy. And I'm 2/3 of the way through my Wielders of Arantha trilogy. I'm currently writing book 3, as well as a prequel novella to go with it. Other than that, I'm just a struggling author, just like everyone else out there.
You said you started writing a few years ago, but you were actually writing before that, just not books, right?
Well, I was doing kind of a movie blog, writing movie reviews and stuff like that, but nothing too serious or in depth.
Well, still, that's writing.
It is writing, yes.
So looking at your bio, you talk about being bullied in school. Is that really kind of what started you down this road?
Well, yeah, in a way, yeah, because I was bullied in middle school and all through high school, and I started to get nostalgic in like January of 2014 about middle school, and I started to think about if I could go back and change things, if I could be the director of my own story, how would I write it so that it turned out okay? And then before I knew it, I was writing this story in my head about how a boy who looks a lot like me and acts a lot like me, basically is me, can win back the respect of his classmates, get even with the bullies, and get the girl. And before I knew it, I had a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end, and I just had to get it on paper. So that's how my first book came to be.
And I've read all 3 of the James Madison books, and I'll tell everyone out there, it is a good series to read. It's not fantasy or science fiction, but it's still a good series to read. Now, that you in your Wielders of Arantha series, what inspired you to go into the science fiction and fantasy realm?
Well, when I was a kid, I was huge into science fiction. I watched every science fiction TV show and movie that came out there. Obviously I was into Star Wars and Star Trek, and especially Doctor Who. I was just nuts for those things, and I would read science fiction books, and it was my first love, and I never thought I could write a science fiction book, because I thought if I wrote something, I'd just be copying from something else. But, now that I've got got a few books under my belt, I got some creative juices flowing, and I came up with a story that I really liked and that I don't think has been done before. So that's kind of where Wielders of Arantha came from.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the story that you're telling there?
Okay. Well, it's 700 years in Earth's future, Earth has been invaded by a very, very powerful race called the Jeg, and they have enslaved or destroyed most of humanity and on Earth and its colonies. There's a team of scientists and engineers that have been living underground and trying to come up with a plan to defeat the enemies. And then the leader of the project, an engineer named Richard, learns of a planet on the far side of the galaxy where he has been told by a mysterious extra-dimensional being that there is an energy source that will help them defeat the Jeg. So they plan a trip there, but just as they're about to leave, their base is attacked, and only the engineer's wife, Maeve, and his son survive and make it to this planet. So basically it's just the two of them on this alien world. Now what they soon discover is that this alien world, which is inhabited by a race very much like humans, only they're more of like a 13th century level of technology. They run into a God, this is a long synopsis, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
You don't want to tell the whole story.
No. Anyway, there are some people on this world who have supernatural abilities thanks to these mystical stones, and it all ties in with this great big cosmic chess game that's being played out between immortal races, and the book is called Pawns because they realize that they're only pieces in this game. I don't know how much more else I should say.
And your second book is called Queens.
Yes.
Correct? And
yes.
There we get involved with some more pieces on the puzzle.
Yes, exactly.
And have you got a title for, is the third book going to be the final book, pretty much?
Yes, it is. I mean, sticking with the chess terms theme, book 3 will be called Endgame.
Okay. And any idea when that will be coming out, approximately?
I'm shooting for very early 2018, January or February.
Okay.
Depending on how fast I can get this thing finished.
And it looks like both of those Pawns and Queens have been well received. You're getting some very good reviews. And I have read both of them, and I do recommend them to anyone listening. They are some excellent books. In writing science fiction and well, I think you originally considered it science fiction, but it does have some fantasy elements. Isn't that correct?
Most definitely, yes. I mean, you can't say the word mystical stones without kind of crossing into fantasy.
The characters that you've created. Let's talk about Maeve. She's why don't you kind of give us a description of Maeve? I kind of like her description. She's unique in a way.
Yes, she is. Well, we said she's the wife of the engineer leading the project, but she's a combat pilot. She's full Irish. She has the Irish accent and everything. She has purple hair and eyes, and she has bird tattoos all over her back and torso. She has like 7 or 8 of them. She gets one every time something really special happens in her life. It's kind of, plus it kind of makes her even more badass because they're all like predatory birds. She has a 15-year-old son, Davin, who's kind of he's tough like her, but he's also wicked smart like his dad. And he's definitely got a playful side to him. So does she. Even though she's a combat veteran, what I like about her is that she definitely has a very vulnerable and fragile side. She's not all tough as nails all the time. She can be very tender, especially when it comes to her son, who is now basically the only person she has left in the entire galaxy.
Well, the purple hair and purple eyes almost sounds like an alien. you said they were human. Is this just something in the future that people
Yeah.
just get to choose their own colors?
Yes, exactly. I thought giving her purple hair and eyes would make her, more exotic. But yes, it's in the future when people can alter their genetic code to give themselves different color eyes and hair, and she just happens to love
Okay.
color purple.
And the theme of bullying that I read in your James Madison series seems to be being carried over into your Wielders of Arantha series.
Yes, that's very true. Yes.
In the character of the antagonist. Tell us just a little bit about him. You don't want to give much away.
Oh, there's plenty of stories. There are plenty of examples, yes. The main characters, the villains, if you were, are a twin brother and sister who were basically abused as children, and then when their father died, they were sold basically into slavery, and it just only got worse from there. But they survived, and they happened to find one of those mystical stones, and it gave the sister of the two, Elzaria, her brother's name is Elzor, it gave her the power to control lightning. But since this is kind of a medieval world, women are not well respected by men. So, but her brother is very charismatic and a natural leader, so he's the guy with the plan, and she's just kind of helping him realize his goals.
What are some other themes that you are purposely putting into this story?
Well, I mean, two other major characters in the book, are also bullied, and but they're the good guys, but they're teenagers, but in a way it's they're very different. A guy named Sen, who is kind of very shy and clumsy, and then you have a girl named Vaxi, who's a strong huntress, and both of them were bullied as children, and they kind of find each other, and I thought it would be a nice little twist to have these two characters who are so physically different, but yet their lives are so similar, kind of find each other, and yes, sparks will fly between them.
So you've got romance as well as the bullying theme.
Yes.
And I just not to give anything away, you also deal with some of the themes about women's place in society.
Yes.
So there's quite a bit there. Is there anything else you want to tell us about this trilogy?
Well, I do delve into same-sex relationships. There is a tribe on this alien world which is composed of all women. They've been living kind of in secret on the outskirts of society for centuries because they didn't want to have to deal with, basically they didn't have to want to deal with men's crap. They wanted to live their own lives. To them, I mean, they only use men to, father their children. But in a society such as this, women are often portrayed as weak, and I definitely did not want that. I wanted all my female characters to be strong, independent women, and I think I've done that.
They sound kind of like a tribe of Amazons.
Oh, kind of. Yeah, kind of like that. But, I mean, they're not all like 6 feet tall like Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But, there are huntresses, but, they're also gatherers and cloth weavers and cooks and whatnot. It's just like any other society.
Now, you use a publisher, Creativia. Is that
Correct.
how you pronounce it?
Yes.
How do you like that as compared to being an indie publisher?
Well, as an indie author, you have to do all your own marketing, and that can not only be time consuming but very expensive. And Creativia has done a decent job marketing my books. I have another big promo coming up in in early November. I'm hoping that now that book 2 in the series is out, it will help drive sales to book 1, because a lot of people don't want to buy book 1 if there's no book 2.
Mm-hmm. So, have you done any personal appearances?
I've done a few. I've done a few blog interviews. I have a few personal author signing events coming up in November and December, and then next year, as always, I look forward to the Tucson Festival of Books, which is in mid-March. It's one of the biggest book festivals in the country, and this will be my I think 4th year in a row going, and it's one of my favorite parts of the year.
Okay. You want to tell the audience where you might be in November, so if somebody's in your area, they may want to come out and get a book signed.
December 9th in downtown Mesa, I'm going to be at the Mesa Book Festival, which is going to be from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's like right out there on the street. There'll be a lot of vendors and stuff, and it's a really great event. I look forward to being there. And there's also a show at the Tempe Library. I think that's November 11th.
Okay. What about online events? Anything coming up that you'll be involved in?
Not off the top of my head, no, but things always come up at the last minute.
So, in what do you maybe have planned after Wielders of Varantha? Have you got any ideas of what you're going to do after that?
Well, after all 3 books and the novella are out, I've actually already got my next series planned. I'm bringing it back to Earth in the present day. It'll be a paranormal story. I'm very looking forward to writing that. I think it's going to be deep first person, and I've enlisted the help of another author to help me with the characters, because she's really great at that. And so that's what I'm going to be doing in 2018.
Now, your Wielders of Varantha series is written in third person, correct?
Correct.
And yet your James Madison series, what I found really fascinating was it was written in first person, but each chapter was a different viewpoint.
Well, yes.
Dealing with the main characters. I thought that was very interesting.
Yes, it was alternating first person. I found a few authors who like doing that, and it kind of works to tell the same story from multiple angles. Wielders of Varantha is kind of like that. The point of view does shift from chapter to chapter. I think like 9 or 10 different characters are kind of take center stage at one point.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in such a broad, sweeping story, you really need a lot of viewpoints, because you got like 3 or 4 different things going on. I mean, yeah. It's not as involved as Game of Thrones, thank God. But hopefully, it's a complex story, but not so complex that people get lost.
Is there a viewpoint that you prefer writing?
Well, I wouldn't say I prefer one over the other. I mean, both of them has its freedoms and its limitations.
Mm-hmm.
I want to try deep first person next, because one of my favorite series of all time is written in deep first person, and I thought it might be fun to write a series in that perspective.
And what series is your favorite?
That's called the Action Figures series by author Michael Bailey. It's basically a teen superhero fiction.
Okay.
But it's so well written. I've read like all 6 books like 3 or 4 times. It's just phenomenal.
Is he pretty much your favorite author, or there's some others?
He's one of them. He's definitely one of them. I know so many authors, and there's so many great authors out there who I just love reading, yourself included.
Thank you. So when you originally started to write, had you pretty much decided to go the indie route, or did you first attempt to get in with an agent and everything?
Well, not at first, because, well, I was kind of impatient to get it out in the world, and I didn't think an agent would pick me up. I mean, since I had no previous writing experience, and I mean, I just didn't want to waste a year, getting rejected, and at which point I might have thrown in the towel on the whole thing. So I just want to just get the first one out there, see if people liked it, and then go from there.
Okay.
I did query a few agents about wielders, but no one bit. And that's when I found Creativia. I sent them a synopsis of the series, and they liked it, and they said, well, not only will we publish this for you, we'll pick up your other ones too. And I said, oh, cool. For my next series, the paranormal series, I might, instead of just sending that directly to them, I might hold off and, take my time on this one, query agents and larger publishers, see if I can get a break.
Have you been under deadlines with Creativia, or
no?
Pretty free.
No, that's one of the things I like about Creativia. They're very flexible, and they're very willing to work with you. And they're still kind of learning. I mean, I was the first YA author to be under their umbrella. They're always exploring new avenues for advertising, because if their advertising doesn't work, then they don't make money either. So that's what I like about it, because they don't charge you money to publish your books.
Are you writing full time?
I'm afraid not.
Okay.
I still have a full-time job in a medical billing office. I just write on nights and weekends, and whenever my wife gives me free space.
So how does that work out, trying to balance a regular career alongside writing?
It's often a challenge. And then when you throw in the fact that I do a lot of editing for other people on the side, I sometimes wonder how I even find the time to sleep. But somehow I make it work.
Well, I'm glad you do, since you're my editor, so that's good. Do you get involved very much on social media with other authors?
Oh yes, definitely. I'm on Facebook all the time. I have a Facebook group for young adult authors called Young Adult Author Rendezvous, YAAR, and it's some of the greatest writers of YA and middle grade and kids books that I've ever met, and some of the greatest people I know. And so many of them have helped me become better writers and taught me so much about this whole crazy world that I've kind of flung myself into with no idea of what I was doing.
Is there any advice you would give someone who hasn't written a book yet, or has written one but has been afraid to publish, ready to get out there? Anything that you could tell them to help encourage?
Oh yeah, well, the first rule of writing is to be yourself. Another great thing to do is to have other people read it. I mean, and I'm telling not people who are going to sugarcoat it, but I mean people who will tell you honestly what they think. I mean, if you're serious about publishing a book, you need to put out the best product you can, because for every great book out there, there's a dozen bad ones, and you don't want to be one of the bad ones. You have to it's cheaper to publish now than it's ever been, but you still need an editor. The book still needs to make sense and not have dozens and dozens of typos, because that will put readers off like that. And you need a good cover, because you need a good eye-catching cover. And yes, a good editor and a good cover artist will cost you money, but in the end, it's a worthwhile investment, and you just need feedback. My advice, seek out find a critique group in your area. I did, and it's helped me so much. I mean,
good advice.
Yeah, I mean, it literally does take a village.
Yeah, it does. I learned that too, and just speaking from an author's point of view to their editor, I have to say that you are brutally honest with me, and I enjoy that, but you also make it fun. And some of the comments you have left in my manuscripts have really set me off to laughing and shown me how stupidly I can write sometimes. So I just want to let everyone know you are a good editor.
Thank you very much.
And I will have links to your Amazon author page and your Wielders of Rantha books on the podcast page when this interview comes out.
Okay, yeah. Also check out my group's website. It's yaarendezvous.com.
Okay. And you have a website. You want to tell us how to get to that?
It's patrickhodgesauthor.com.
Okay.
I'm looking into improving my website very soon. Add a few bells and whistles. It's just one of those many things I need to make time for.
When do you think just before we go, when do you think the prequel for Wielders will be coming out?
Well,
will that be after the trilogy is done?
I may even, since I'm really close to finishing it. I'm literally about 2 chapters away from finishing the whole thing, and then I just need to compile it, get some feedback on it. I might release that like in November or December, kind of like as a tentpole to the series before I put book 3 out, because I've been writing it in spurts since beginning of the year, and I mean, now that I'm in the home stretch, I feel like, come on, I could probably finish this in 2 hours, so why don't I do it?
Yeah. That'll be good, something to look forward to. So, well, I want to thank you for being with us today and being on the show. And like I said, we'll have links so everyone can find you. And just be sure and let all your friends know that you're on this podcast so we can get people listening. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
C.G. Blade's pseudoverse novels are a sarcastic look into mankind's race to develop the first conscious artificial intelligence and achieve singularity. The problem is that most of the runners in this race are sadistic, hell-bent on destruction of DNA as we know it, and have a fondness for those missing a Y chromosome. Why, you ask? From cobalt to crimson to emerald, this is one wild, mysterious roller coaster ride as a hidden puppet master is slowly but surely gaining ground on humankind. C.G.'s newest novel, Onyx, goes back 26 years before Cobalt and explains the beginning of it all. Will humanity finally become steady? Tropa is all around us now as heliotrope starts to take shape. We hope you enjoy this little slice of science fiction heaven which fuses historical science fiction, satire, horror, and plenty of hidden Easter eggs along the way. Join us in liberating the pseudos from Pseudosynth Press Publishing.